Welcome to Lessons in History. Still dealing with exchange rates, by the way. Um, so, I think you might understand already that we didn't always have the exchange rates going on like they're like now. So, it wasn't clear with the dollar and the euro and with the Chinese currencies and stuff how everything was linked. In the beginning, we had something called the gold standard. As you can see, a nice image about some golden bars over there. This already started in the 19th century. So in that time, you had this fixed amount that was worth gold. Like, I don't know the exact thing it was. Imagine like $10 was worth X amount of gold. And everyone was able to go to their bank and trade in their currency for gold, right? So gold was stored at the banks, and people received a certificate in place. And on this piece of paper, you had like, okay, this person owns 10 golden bars. As you might understand, it is very difficult to transport these golden bars. You can't like run around with them. It's also pretty dangerous, of course. So people just stored them at the bank, and the bank gave them this piece of paper that stated how much bars this person owned. These things, these papers were traded already. So if I traded a paper that stated, okay, this person owns 5 golden bars, someone else right now um, was able to withdraw these golden bars from the bank because they had this paper right now. This was actually the start of paper money, as you can believe. So in this case, your money was always backed by something real, with a real value, namely gold. Right now, the paper money we use today has no backup. This is just paper. The paper over here in this story was worth something in real gold. Today we don't have it anymore. Today we speak about the fiat currencies, which means that we trust the money we use to have value. There's nothing really behind it. We all trust it to have value, while over here we had gold, and everyone knew gold was something worth, right? A lot, by the way. Okay, now, as you can see, money is only backed by the trust we have in the system. If the trust is gone, the system will fall, right? Okay, now, during the First World War, nations abandoned the gold standard to fund the war with printed money. So governments realized, okay, in order to produce more weapons, to get the army up and going, we need more money. But it was impossible to back everything with real gold because gold was like had no infinite supply, you know that. So they just abandoned the gold standard, and you can already know this, but if you keep printing money, you get problems because too much money will be chasing too few goods, and this will result into high inflation. After the war, nations hopped back on the gold standard, while deflation and unemployment ravaged the world. So the war was over, but you still had these problems going on. Okay. Then came the Second War. This was even more expensive, and debt raced everywhere. So the thing is, the supply of gold is finite, so we cannot have an infinite amount of gold. It's impossible to back every single currency with enough gold, so the gold standard was like falling already. There was a problem over here. Eventually came Bretton Woods, and this event, um, well, was in 1944, as you can see. The most, all of the gold in the world, like the most amount of it, was located in the U.S. That's why they actually had this in Bretton Woods, this event, and they decided to peg all the currencies in the world to the USD, and the USD was pegged to gold. So you have one currency like, let's say, the Belgian franc, which can be pegged to the USD, and USD is pegged to gold. Here you have a nice image which will help you understand. So you have some currencies over here. In the middle, we have the dollar. Eventually, we see this golden bar standing over there. So the dollar was now very, very important. Okay. Um, so they also made a decision that if um, your rate was going too far away from the dollar's rate, that the monetary government was allowed to intervene and to do something about it. Problems started arising in 58 when a lot of money started leaving the US. So in this case, Europe became more attractive, so more money was going to Europe. Vietnam was a costly affair. Think about the Vietnam War. The Cold War, you also know that, also very expensive. So all the money goes to Europe because the wars were going on over there as well. And eventually the USD became or had like problems. The pressure increased, causing a lot of countries to convert their money to gold because they realized that if the USD had issues, that having enough money was also getting a problem over here. The thing was, the USD was still worth a certain amount in gold. So the like the countries decided to convert the dollars they had into gold, which means that all of the gold in the US was flowing out of the country. Okay, here we see it. The gold started to leave the US at a very quick pace. The man you see over here is called President Nixon, and he stopped the convertibility in 71. This was called the Nixon shock, which just meant that people could not trade their dollars for gold anymore. Everything started floating again, so all the rules were abandoned and prices could skyrocket again from one day to another. Eventually, this was also left behind. Meanwhile, in Europe, I think we saw this. Yes, I know we saw this in like the first semester. The European Monetary System, or EMS, was created in 79. The goal was to create price stability. The ERM is the exchange rate mechanism. Once again, something very important that stated how many, for example, Belgian francs a Swiss franc was worth. In the end, this transformed to the EMU, where we had Maastricht, obviously, a very important one with the four convergence criteria. I'm just going over this because this is something you have to study. Um, Not too difficult to understand, I think. Here we have the advantages and the disadvantages of the economic and monetary union. You can read those. And in the end, we have a Kahoot quiz over here, which will be for, or which we will take in class. This chapter, well, about the lessons in history. How do I question this? Well, you have to know the basics. You have to know what the gold standard meant. You have to know what Bretton Woods was with this image, which will surely help you. You have to know what the Nixon shock is, um, why we have the EMS that eventually became the EMU with the convergence criteria, things like that. Finally here, the plus and the downside of a economic and monetary union. That's it. So a video that is shorter than 10 minutes, I'm happy with that. I know I just the only thing I did was I've read everything from the slides, so I know this video won't provide that much value, but some of you just want to hear my voice, so here you have it. Um, I hope this helped a bit. If it didn't, well, that's sad, but we'll see. The chapter is not done yet. We still have to face 4.3 over here, the balance of payments, BOP. I will see you in that video.